Trader Crypto Podcast. This is the Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Trader Cobb Crypto Show. Another great guest on the show today, Ash Hoey. But before we get into the conversation, just want to let you know this show is sponsored by TraderCobb.com, where you can go across and find all of your crypto trading and educational needs. Go to TraderCobb.com and join up to the free bi-weekly video newsletter there. Ash Hoey, CEO and founder of Rapid ID, doing a number of different things within the space of KYC and many other areas as well, working with a number of different blockchain companies and growing a huge amount in the identity space. Ash, thank you so much for being on the show, mate.
Hey, Craig, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Hey, look, could you just start with a bit of an introduction as to who you are, what you've come from, and why you're in the space now with Rapid ID?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO and founder, as you mentioned, of Rapid ID. The business has come out of the frustration in the market around identity services. A lot of them tend to be very clunky, very expensive and hard to implement. So we wanted to create a solution where you could have everything in the one place. And we wanted to provide a really good, scope and coverage of individuals. So we wanted to be able to verify basically anyone, anywhere, anytime, in real time.
So basically, we all know, being in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space and crypto asset space, that there's a lot that we need to do. And often it takes quite some time to get verified, not just in this space, but in other areas as well. Effectively, what you're trying to do is create a faster gateway to an outcome. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. Instead of, having to upload, utility bills and take a picture of yourself holding up a piece of paper saying, I am this person on this date, we wanted to be able to provide the tools that allow individuals to get onboarded and verified in real time using, things like identity documents, so a passport or a driver's license. We can do, facial recognition to match their face against that document, and then even verify that document against an issuing government agency. So all those little checks that create an overall picture about who you are, we can all do that in real time.
Now, we know right now that there's a lot of conversation going on about data. There's a Facebook probe. There's all these different things that are happening about the loss of data, how it's being used, sold, manipulated, whatever you want to call it. And there's of course, the hacks that come into it. I mean, how is Rapid ID going to keep us safer than some of the other options that are out there currently?
Look, it's a very simple answer, and it's our core DNA, what drives us and myself personally. Zero knowledge protocol is absolutely what is needed. If you've got any information, you're always going to be at risk of having that information hacked. So with any terms of a data breach, Rapid ID actually doesn't store or collect personal information. So that's how we're kind of disrupting this space. Once we've helped verify an individual, by matching their information against, identity records and systems that are held, we discard that information so that we'll never end up with a, conglomerate of a database that is a target for hackers. So individuals that use Rapid ID through businesses that work with us, their information is always going to be much more secure and safe with us.
So it's not stored anywhere. It goes in the front gateway of X business and then comes to you verify it, goes back, it's not stored. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Yeah. Your information, let's take myself, for example. When I'm born, I get issued a birth certificate. That birth certificate is held, at a government database somewhere. What we're doing is we're verifying that information against that source that already exists, because we can't remove that, but we then verify it. We provide the pass or fail response back to the business who's trying to verify myself, and we then discard that information. So what was provided to us, we actually, encrypt and then delete, so that there's never any record of that personally identifiable information. Obviously, there's a transaction ID to say, yep, we did a check at this time, but nothing sensitive or personal is actually ever stored or recorded on our system.
So can you give us a bit of an example as to the types of businesses that you're looking to work with?
Look, absolutely. And I mean, we are very much getting a lot of interest from the ICOs and blockchain decentralized platforms. So companies that are requiring any form of ID verification to provide a service, whether it's remittance bureaus, banking services, other financial institutions that are non-banking, real estate, lawyers, accountants. Basically, there's a lot of application for our service and actually understanding who the other person is behind the device that you're dealing with.
Okay, so you've been around in the space for a while. How long's Rapid ID been up and doing its thing for?
Yeah, we've been in R&D for a number of years now, but officially launching at the beginning of January this year. And look, we've been doing quite a few interesting things, behind the scenes. Some of the government agencies we've been talking to, other big sort of technology companies, and yeah, we've got quite a few interesting plans for the future.
No, it sounds like a fantastic idea. And the whole idea of two sides of this is it's a bit quicker, well, hopefully a lot quicker, but also that safety. I mean, often when you put your details into a website, for example, and you're going through that process, I do wonder. I mean, I need to do it to open accounts or do this or to do that, but you think, where's this going?
Exactly.
Where does it end up? And are you saying, like, for the businesses that you're working with, that front end that I put in my information, my name, my address, yada, yada, is that front end then essentially erased? So it doesn't exist other than for the purpose of Rapid ID confirming I am who I am back to the business, and then it's gone?
If it's using our front end, absolutely. However, we provide a service for businesses. So the individual business that you might be transacting with, and look, not confirming if they are a business or not of ours, but let's just say, let's take Airtasker, for example. If you want to sign up and use Airtasker, for example, to be yourself for hire, when you give your information to Airtasker, they're probably going to hold your information because that's the service that you're using. But if they need to verify you, we're going to match that information against the records, and Rapid ID doesn't actually store or collect it. Now, Rapid ID will deal with a lot more information and data than what Airtasker would do. So therefore, we would be a higher target if we were storing that information. The thing is that we've decentralized that kind of verification process to put it out to all the originating sources. And then once the check has been done, Rapid ID discards that information. So anything that's held on the business user end, we have no control over. That's for you to obviously look at, assess that risk to say, hey, am I comfortable leaving my first name, last name, date of birth, address with this company? And that's, out of our hands essentially.
Okay, fair enough. And have you got any clients at the moment that you're working with that you're sort of kicking along with?
Look, we're going to be at the Bitcoin and blockchain fair this weekend, and one of the main sponsors, CoinSpot, is actually a client of ours, and they do some pretty amazing things in the digital exchange space at the moment. Now being regulated under AUSTRAC, we help provide their AML KYC services, for example.
Okay, excellent. Now, I'm pretty interested in what the future is. I mean, you've been in this space for a while. This is a very new business, but it sounds like you're sort of getting some good momentum with it. What does the future hold for Rapid ID and your vision for the industry and the business? Yeah,
thanks for asking that. I personally believe that our information as individuals really does belong to us, and at the moment, Rapid ID is trying to help minimize that risk of our data being monetized. But at the same time, we also understand that changing a process is a very, very, it's a hard thing to do, especially when it's so ingrained in our day-to-day lives. The future of Rapid ID is essentially going to look like a universal profile for everyone. We want to develop a decentralized platform, and in essence, kind of like a marketplace to say, you as an individual, you can have your own individual profile and you can choose who you want to share your information with. So, let's take a real estate form, for example. If you're applying for a rental property, you provide a lot of personal information in that application. Now, the information that's on a rental application is not the same information you really need to open up a bank account. You don't need to know my pet's name, for example. So the information that you want to share can actually be controlled by yourself instead of having to apply for different services using your information time and time again. Instead of them then storing and holding that on your behalf, and then being able to monetize it in a lot of circumstances, you then can choose who you want to share that information with, and then the business will be able to say, hey, we recognize that you've been verified and your profile is verified to our standard that we require. You can use our service or have access to whatever you want to buy from us. That's what Rapid ID wants to eventually get to, but it will take a number of years to reach that point. And we haven't discarded doing a initial coin offering. I think there's a massive opportunity for identity, in being enhanced on the blockchain, not necessarily a public blockchain. There's a lot of things obviously still to work out, but there is definitely a future using and leveraging blockchain for identity and Rapid ID.
Well, a couple of things there. I mean, the first one is, it's a very big pain when you've got to open. I mean, with crypto, I'm a trader, right? I've got lots of different accounts and you've got to move around a lot. And there's a lot of things you've got to do. You've got to fill out the same thing every single time. Effectively, what you're saying with Rapid ID, eventually with you storing that information, I won't need to continue to fill it out. I just sort of execute it across to there and they go, yep, that's fine, and vice versa.
That's correct, yeah. Because at some point, there'll be you will interact with Rapid ID again through a different business, and what we want to be able to say is, hey, instead of you having to provide your information again, you've already been verified. We trust that that information and that record, so let's just provide that conduit between the business and yourself to say, hey,
you know this guy,
yeah, exactly. I want to sign in using my universal profile, which is powered by Rapid ID.
And our personal data seems to be, it's almost like a new currency. It's funny that people are now starting to actually realize that, wow, all this information I'm putting into Facebook, putting into this, that, and the other, people are out there making money off of this. Why are they making money off of my data? I didn't know that was happening. It's almost like there's been this, like the world has woken up to a certain degree that, our information is not actually our information. It's in the hands of whoever we seem to give it to, and then they can go ahead and use it however they like. Not really, but kind of is. So it does seem like this is a new wave of currency, understanding and owning our own data.
Absolutely, it is actually a little bit scary if you want to dive deep into it. A lot of people are also just they just accept that this is the way it is. We don't
no other options.
Yeah, we don't believe that should always be the case. And you look at how things have come about in the last 20, 30 years or so. Let's take let's look at the switch over from your TV from analog to digital. We didn't have a choice to make that switch. And I call that the leap of faith. So switching from analog to digital. Now that digital process is really a centralized market. We want to be able to make the next step in a trusted way to say, hey, let's now decentralize this process and take control back of our own individual data so that no one else can monetize it. And as you mentioned, companies like Facebook, they view their users as products. We are the product of Facebook that they sell. That's a really simple way of sort of explaining it. But yeah, the more information you put out there, the more at risk you are of someone else being able to use it or monetize it in a different way.
Well, mate, I think it's a pretty amazing sector. It's a new emerging area that, as we say, it's only starting to emerge. There are opportunities for people like yourself and Rapid ID to come into this space because there is the knowledge that our data is out there. It's being used by others, and anyone that can help me to get things done faster, because the verification process can take an awfully long time. It can be quite cumbersome, and it can be a bit frustrating. Anything that speeds up the way that we do business, I think that's a really, really good thing. And I'm very interested to see what you do going forward. Is there anything else that you sort of thought would be worthy of telling us about that's coming up in the future?
Look, watch this space, I think, is the best response.
Watch this space. And look, don't forget, guys, Ash and myself will be at the Bitcoin and Blockchain Fair in Melbourne this weekend, the 16th and 17th of June. Ash, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate having the conversation and learning more about what's going on with our data and the KYC and AML process. It sounds like you're on a winner here, speeding things up and helping businesses like CoinSpot at the moment, and no doubt many more to come. Thank you so much for being on the show.
No, you're welcome. Thanks so much for having me, Craig. It was a pleasure.
Excellent. Guys, don't forget this show is sponsored by TraderCobb.com. Jump across to TraderCobb.com and sign up to the bi-weekly video newsletter. Bye for now.
The Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast. Check out TraderCobb.com because experience matters.